My name is Patty. I'm an employee at Experian, and this is my credit story. I am a first generation Filipino American raised by a single immigrant mother, and I was taught to be very frugal and smart with my money growing up, almost to a fault. By the time I turned 18 and had gotten my first job, I was experiencing anxiety over nearly every purchase that I was making.
Ngayon, kung intindihan na lahat ng magapayat aral na binibigay sa akin ng mami ko ay dahil gusto niya na mas maging maganda at madali ang buhay ko at hindi ko maranasan yung harap niya as a struggling immigrant.
At 20 years old, I entered a pretty severe depressive episode that greatly affected my physical, mental, and financial health. I was working a job that didn't pay a livable wage. I was helping my mom with her bills on top of my own, and I just wasn't coping with my issues in a healthy manner. So I got into $16,000 of consumer debt, unfortunately. Dahil alam ko na pinalaki ako ng tama, nahiya ako sa sarili ko. Sinarili ko ang problema ko at wala akong sinabihan about my struggles. Hindi ko mag-enjoy ang buhay ko sa ganitong situation, so I just became more and more depressed, and it felt like this endless cycle, and it really felt like I was never going to escape it. Fast forward, and I finally got a job that allowed me the privilege to commit myself to aggressively paying down my consumer debt. Pero kahit anong bayad ko, parang hindi bumababa ang utang ko. So it felt like nothing was happening and I was stuck and I felt miserable and helpless, and it took me feeling this way to finally reach out to my mom for help, and she surprised me. She wasn't disappointed, she didn't shame me, and we worked together to find a solution. And it turns out that the interest rate on that credit card was obscene. So all of my payments were going to the interest and not my principal amount. And it occurred to me that if I had missed something as simple as interest rates, what else was I missing? What else should I know that I was never taught? So I looked into it. Nag-focus ako sa pag-aaral ko. So I read a lot of articles, I read books, I listened to podcasts, I watched documentaries, and I learned so many things that I 100% believe I should have been taught formally in school. Focusing on my financial health became a really large priority of mine. And after a full year of getting my finances in order and educating myself along the way, nabayad ko ng buo ng utang ko. And guess what? Debt-free na ako, debt-free pa hanggang ngayon. This time in my life affected my financial health for years to come. Because of all the lessons I learned, I never again got myself into a debt that I couldn't get out of. And I now have an amazing credit score that really affords me the opportunity to achieve the goals that I never thought that I was going to achieve, especially back when I was 20 years old. And now, I'm proud to work for a company that devotes itself to teaching consumers how to take control of their financial health too. Definitely feels like a full circle moment. The crazy thing about all of this is that this story used to make me feel so ashamed, and I never thought that I would want to share this with anybody, let alone a bunch of strangers on the internet. But I now understand it takes a lot of grace and patience to accept your mistakes and to correct them, because we will be making them. It's inevitable. But I wholeheartedly believe that we will always find a way to bounce back. My biggest takeaway from this experience is that financial education is not nearly a large enough priority, especially in minority communities. I think we are so focused on simply surviving and keeping our head above the water that it feels impossible to thrive sometimes. There's a problem with access to resources, tools, and education in these communities, and I feel like once we have those, the barriers that we can tear down to financial access are limitless. And my hope is that this story makes you feel na posible rin ito sa'yo.